Now, with a quietened mind, one should do Nididhyasanam. Upasana Dhyanam done after studying Vedanta Shastras. The mind focused on the supreme reality, Brahma Tattvam, by recollecting key Upanishad mantras pointing to Brahman and reiterating the already understood meanings of these key Upanishad mantras. The central message of these key Upanishad mantras being that our own true nature, Atman, is not different from Brahman, the supreme reality. O Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha, to be reiterated during Nijidhyasanam, so that this central message of the Upanishads is totally internalized, resulting in transformation of the individual from Jiva Bhava to Brahma Bhava. The process of converting knowledge or information to transformation is Nididhyasanam. Upanishad itself says, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma Tat Jalaniti Shanta Upasita. So to begin with, Shanta Upasita. First quieten the mind. Shanta Upasita. Then do Upasana, Nidhyasanam on Brahman. As what? Idam Sarvam Khalu Brahma Eva. Verily, all around us, the only absolute reality, the only absolutely real principle is Brahma Tattvam. Though not comprehensible by sense organs or mind, but by systematic study of Vedanta Shastras, one is established in this doubtless knowledge that there is an absolute reality, Brahma Tattvam, that is all pervading. And from this absolute reality, Brahma Tattvam, emerges the seemingly real, relatively real universe. Remember, Brahman is called absolutely real because it is absolute in itself. It is independent of any other entity and of the nature of absolute existence, absolute consciousness, absolute bliss. Satchit Ananda Swarupam. The universe which emerges from Brahman, the absolute reality, the universe is called as relatively real, seemingly real. Remember, the universe, the world that is being experienced by sense organs and mind is only a matter principle, doesn't have any existence of its own. And this universe borrows existence from Brahman and undergoes continuous creation, sustenance, dissolution, srishti, sthiti, layam. And since it doesn't have any existence of its own, it's called as only seeming real, actually unreal. And since Brahman is a fundamental substratum for the universe to undergo creation, sustenance, dissolution, Brahman here is called as Tad Jalan. Tad Jalan means Tad Brahma. That supreme principle, Brahma Tattvam, from which Jalan, this universe undergoes Srishti, Sthiti, Layam. So also our own physical body, sense organs, mind, thoughts are all matter principles. They don't have any existence of their own. They borrow existence from supreme reality, Brahma Tattvam, manifest themselves, are sustained for some period of time, and finally get resolved into fundamental matter, Maya Tattvam. So we're pointing out that both the world around us, all the events that happen around us, closer to us, whatever happens to our physical body, whatever thoughts arise in our mind, we're pointing out that all these are only seemingly real, unreal, that Brahman alone being absolute reality. Upanishad is conveying a very important message. The message is that just like things which do not exist, unreal things, non existent things, cannot impact our mind, do not create any impressions on our mind. So, also with this knowledge, the knowledge that everything around us is only seemingly real, actually unreal, one should learn not to get impacted. One should learn to be unperturbed, undisturbed by any events happening around us, including whatever may happen to our physical body, whatever thoughts may be arising in our mind. By this, jnanam, knowledge, Advaita jnanam, that these are all only seemingly real, actually unreal, without existence. Ignorant people, not knowing this absolute reality, Brahma Tattvam, which is all pervading, that everything is unreal, attach importance to all things happening around them, including their own thoughts, whatever happens to their physical body, etc. And more often than not, when things don't happen as per their expectations, when things are not favorable, them connecting themselves to all these things are thrown into emotional upheaval, and they are subject to sorrow, distress, depression when things do not happen as per their expectations, and find it very difficult to come out of this state. Why? Because of ignorance. Whereas a person endowed with knowledge, it is called Advaita Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam, Atma Jnanam. Knowing that all these are actually unreal, remains unperturbed, undisturbed, and established in permanent peace by being a witness of everything happening around, including one's own thoughts. Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunascha. The only way for one to be established in permanent peace, there is no other way. Nanya Pantha Ayanaya Vidyate. So proclaiming the Veda mantras. So the message of the Upanishad is very clear that this human birth is a great opportunity provided to us. One should utilize this great opportunity, do all the required sadhanas, especially study of Vedanta Shastra, Shravan Manana, Didhyasanam, attain this Advaita Jnanam, Atma Jnanam, Brahma Jnanam here and now in this life itself, and be established in permanent peace. Now, to further elaborate on the all-pervading nature of Brahma Tattvam, let's recollect another key Upanishad mantra pointing to the all-pervading nature of Brahman. Brahmaivedam amritam purastat, Brahma paschat, Brahma dakshinatastottareena, adhastordham cha prasritam, Brahmaivedam vishwamidam varishtham, idam vishwam Brahma eva varishtham. In this universe, Brahman alone is the greatest, most glorious, all-pervading, absolute reality, importantly of the nature of immortality. Remember, Brahmaivedam amritam purastat. This immortal Brahman, never existing, never subject to creation, never undergoes any change, remains ever pure, never subject to decay or destruction. This ever pure Satchidananda Swarupam, Brahma Tattvam, is in front of us, behind us, to our right, left, below, above, and also inside and outside each one of us. Antar Bahishcha Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Sthitaha. So, if this absolute reality, Brahma Tattvam, Satchidananda Swarupam, Brahman, is also present within each of us, how do we know, how do we understand, how do we recognize? Upanishads point out that this Brahma Tattvam, which is all pervading, is also present within each one of us, now called as Atman. Atman is not different from Brahman. Atman also is the nature of Satchit Ananda Swarupam. Brahman also is the nature of Satchit Ananda Swarupam. And by focusing on any of the three natural aspects, Swarupa Lakshanam Atman, Sat Swarupam, Chit Swarupam, or Ananda Swarupam, the mind that is quietened, withdrawn from the world, looking inward, because you're trying to discover the Atman within ourselves. By focusing on any of the three natural aspects, with the help of key Upanishad mantras, and analyzing how does the physical body, which is only a matter principle having no existence, is able to exist and perform actions. How does the mind, which is only a matter principle, is able to cognize? One will be able to clearly understand that there is a greater principle other than matter principle present within us, which is the consciousness principle, which is Atma Tattvam. So recollect that Upanishad mantra which points out the presence of this consciousness principle within us, because of which the mind is able to cognize and know things. Pratibodha viditam matam amritatvam hi vindate atmana vindate viryam vidyaya vindate amritam bodham bodham pratibodham. Constant cognition that is happening in the mind. How is it possible? The mind is only a matter principle. Mind is enabled to cognize only because of the presence of conscious principle. Where is it? Within us. Infinite consciousness present within us. which enables the mind to cognize. So the mind is able to know things. Bodham, bodham, continuous cognition is happening. Pratibodha vijitam matam, understand that there is a greater principle, the consciousness principle present within us, which enables the functioning of the mind. Though the enabler of the mind is unaffected by whatever impressions are formed on the mind. Oh, that principle, own up to it. That is our true nature. Upanishad declares, Pratibodha vijitam matam amritatvam hi vindate. For a person who understands that there is a conscious principle present within each of us and owns up to it as one's own true nature, systematic study of Vedanta Shastras, that person attains immortality. How? Knowing that I am that Atma Tattvam, Satchit Ananda Swarupam, never established in absolute bliss. No more desires arise in the mind of a person who's attained this knowledge. It's an Atmajnani, Brahmajnani. Knowing that I'm ever complete, Brahmajnani has no more desires, established in a desireless state, is able to overcome this cycle of birth and death. Remember, only unfulfilled desires, even at the time of death, ignorant people having lot of desires unfulfilled perish, and these unfulfilled desires form the seed for the next cycle of birth and death. A person established in this knowledge, Advaita Jnanam, having been established in desireless state, overcomes this cycle of birth and death, overcomes samsara chakram, and attains moksham amritatvam. So the Upanishad declares, Pratibodha vijitam matam amritatvam hi vindate, atmana vindate viryam. So while being alive with this Atmajnanam, the Brahmajnani, Atmajnani, vindate viryam, is bestowed with special mental fortitude, mental strength. What is that? While ignorant people, when faced with seemingly adverse circumstances, things are not favorable, breakdown, are subject to distress, sorrow, and dejection and depression, a person established in this jnanam, Brahma jnanam, remains unperturbed, undisturbed by knowing that these are all only unreal, emotionally separating oneself from all these things by being a witness. Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunashta, and is ever established in absolute peace. That is a mental strength, mental fortitude. So Atmana Vindate Viryam Vidyaya Vindate Amritam. And this knowledge is totally internalized, resulting in transformation of the individual. Atmanishta Brahmanishta. Person attains immortality. So Vidyaya Vindate Amritam. No more subject to rebirth for a person who attains Brahmajnanam Atmajnanam. So Pratibodha Vijitam Matam Amritatvam hi Vindate. Atmana Vindate Viryam Vidyaya Vindate Amritam. Knowledge of absolute reality, one's own true nature as Atman, not different from Brahman, the absolute reality bestows immortality. Now let's see how the wonderful composition Atma Bodha Acharya Shankara systematically removes the different layers of ignorance that have covered our mind and leads us to the path of Atmajnanam, Atmabodha, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om, Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvighnam Kurume Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parambrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Shaje Bhavaroginam, Gurave Sarva Lokanam, Dakshinamurtaye Namaha, सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः अपारकरुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्रीचन्द्रशेखरगुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वहम् ॐ. So now chant the six key verses focusing on jnanam, never to be forgotten. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Shri Saraswati Namaha, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Hari Om, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha, Teshamevanukampartham, Ahamajnanajam tamaha, Nashayamyatma bhavastha, Jnanadipena bhasvata, ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितं न हि ज्ञानेन सदृशं पवित्रमिह विद्यते तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः कालेनात्मनि विन्दति ज्ञानेन तु तदज्ञानम् येषां नाशितमात्मनः तेषामादित्यवज्ञानं प्रकाशयति तत्परं यथैधांसि समिद्धोऽग्निः भस्मसात् कुरुतेऽर्जुन ज्ञानाग्निः सर्वकर्माणि भस्मसात् कुरुते तथा यस्य सर्वे समारम्भाः कामसङ्कल्पवर्जिताः ज्ञानाग्निदग्धकर्माणं तमाहुः पण्डितं बुधाः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Now the five key verses focusing on matter principle not to be forgotten. Let's recollect these verses and also reiterate the meaning while chanting them. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Daimi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mame Vahe Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite Ananyas Chintayanto Mam E Janah Paryupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहं मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव ईश्वरः सर्वभूतानां हृद्देशेऽर्जुन तिष्ठति भ्रामयन् सर्वभूतानि यन्त्रारूढानि मायया. So how to overcome this Maya Prabhavam only by Advaita Jnanam, which is well summarized in this wonderful Gaudapada Karika, presenting the essence of all the Upanishads. Prapancho yadi vidyeta nivarteta na samshayaha maya matramidam dvaitam advaitam paramarthataha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So today's Gita Shloka for contemplation, been seeing the key verses from the 7th chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga of Bhagavad Gita. What is the central theme of Jnana Vijnana Yoga? Knowing the nature, true nature of even Ishvara Tattvam, which is Satchidananda Swarupam Brahman, pure consciousness, existence, bliss principle is the true nature of Ishvara also. So in the previous few verses, Bhagavan has explained there are four types of bhaktas or people who are actually noble. Udaraha sarve ete eva. So approach Bhagavan. What are the four types? Artha bhakta, artharthi bhakta, jignasu bhakta, jnani bhakta. And Bhagavan said that the jnani bhakta, the fourth type, was attained jnanam. Attained is Advaita Jnanam by systematic study of Vedanta Shastra, Shravanamana Nidhyasanam under a traditional Brahma Vidyacharya has attained this Jnanam. Bhagavan says the Jnani is not different from himself, both are one and the same. And so, this Jnani who has single pointed focus to attain Jnanam and be established, Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chittam Nandati, Nandati, Nandati. Such a Brahmajnani, not different from me, is what Bhagavan has explained the previous verses. And now, taking verse number 19, 7.19, in which Bhagavan is going to say, how does a person become a jnani? When does a person become a jnani? Very important verse. Let's read the verse, understand the meaning correctly. 7.19 Jnana Vijnana Yoga Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Shri Bhagavanuvacha Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Very important verse which gives a lot of important messages. So, what does Bhagavan say? Ante, at the end, Bahunam Janmanam, of many, many, many births. So, the end of many, many births, Prapadyate Mam, one comes to know who me. In short, one comes to understand Ishvara Tattvam. The Ishvara, in essence, is actually Brahman. Remember, Ishvara is what? Combination of Para Prakriti plus Apara Prakriti. The lower nature is only seemingly real, Maya Tattvam. Higher nature, real nature, Brahman. So, after many, many births, at the end of many births, this is the last birth. Remember, this is the key message. The last birth of an individual, the person attains Brahmajnanam. Prapadyate Mam actually means attains Brahmajnanam. Aham Brahmasmi. Knows one's own true nature. Atman not different from Brahman. How? Jnanavan, as a person of wisdom. So, Dhanavan, person who possesses wealth is called Dhanavan. So, person who's got knowledge, Buddhi is called Buddhiman. So, person has got knowledge, Advaita Jnanam is called Jnanavan. Having become a Jnani, person actually comes to meaning, understands, because a Brahma Jnani merges with Brahman. So, Brahmavit Brahmaiva Bhavati. So, becomes one with Brahman. An important message here is what? That is the last birth of the individual. Means no more subject to rebirth for a jnani. Key message. So the first part, Ante Bahunam Janmanam Prapadyate Mam Jnanavan, clearly indicates that on attaining Brahmajnanam, Brahmajnanam is not only knowing Ishvara Tattvam as Brahman, but also knowing one's own true nature as Atman. So that is the last, but no more subject to rebirth for a jnani. Key message. Not only that, having known the real nature of Ishvara as Brahman, also knows another important key principle. What is that? Iti Vasudevaha Sarvam. So this knowledge, not only that Ishvara Swarupam in essentiality is Brahman, one's own true nature is Atman. Vasudeva is everything. Vasanat Vasudevasya Vasitam Bhuvanatrayam Sarvabhuta Nivasosi Vasudeva Namostute. Vasudeva is only a name, but actually, what? It represents that supreme Brahma Tattvam that is all pervading. So, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, the Upanishad mantra, is what Bhagavan is saying as Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. So, around all of us, only all pervading, absolutely real principles, Brahma Tattvam. Then what about all the matter principles, the world, the events happening, people, all the jiva? They are only seemingly real, relatively real. Vyavaharika Satyam, actually Mithya, have no existence of their own. Once through knowledge you remove existence from them, because it is not their own nature, they are actually non-existent. There's only one principle, Brahman, that is all pervading. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, Vasudevaha Sarvamiti. So, Bhagavan is now praising that person. Is it very easy to attain this jnanam? Like any other knowledge of material sciences, can one attain Advaita Jnanam easily? Bhagavan says, Saha Mahatma. Truly, such a person is a noble soul. That means what? highly evolved, has gone through all the stages, removed totally the ignorance from one's mind, attained this Advaita Jnanam, truly a noble soul, Saha Mahatma. So Bhagavan gives a title, Mahatma to a Jnani. So Saha Mahatma, importantly, Sudurlabhaha. Durlabhaha means what? Rare. Sudurlabhaha, very rare. Very rare. That means what? Among thousands and thousands and thousands of people, hardly one of them attains Advaita Jnanam. Attains what? Liberation. Bhagavan has mentioned that no more rebirth. That is the last birth. So, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabhaha. So, key messages is Brahmajnani knows the true nature of Ishvara as Brahma Tattvam, which is also the all-pervading absolute reality. That is the last birth for this jiva. There is no more subject to rebirth. Finally, very rare. So, Shravanayapi Bahubhiryona Labhyaha Shunvantopi Bahavo Yamna Vidyuhu. Very rare for somebody to attain this jnanam. Such a person is called as a Mahatma, a noble soul. Very important verse. So remember the meaning and let us strive to attain this Atma Jnanam so that this is the last birth, no more subject to rebirth again. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, we'll begin our session on Atma Bodha by chanting the first few verses already learned. Okay. Atha Srimad Shankaracharya Virachita Atma Bodha. Om Tapobhihi Kshinapapanam Shantanam Vitaraginam Mumukshunam Apekshoyam Atmabodho Vidhiyate Bodhonya Sadhanebhyo hi Sakshan Mokshaika Sadhanam Pakasya Vannivajnanam Vina moksho na siddhyati. Third verse, which we started in the last session. Avirodhitaya karma na vidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihantyeva tejastimira sanghavat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, summarizing the first verse, mentioned the qualifications required for a person to attain Atmajnanam, Brahmajnanam. What are they? Tapobhihi, Kshinapapanam, Shantanam, Vitaraginam, Mukshunam. These 5 important qualities was mentioned for those qualified aspirants, Adhikari. This Atma Bodha is being composed by me, is what Acharya began. And to clearly indicate that this self-knowledge, Atmajnanam, Brahmajnanam alone is a direct cause for liberation. Acharya Shankara mentioned an example. Example is that the direct cause for cooking the food is fire. We have all other different entities, items, but without fire, the materials won't get converted into something that is malleable, eatable, cooked. So, just like fire is a direct cause for cooking, Atmajnanam, Brahmajnanam alone is the Sakshat Sadhanam. What about other sadhanas, which are called karma, upasana, other things, bhakti, so called? What are they? They are called as Sahakari Sadhana. So, Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma. All this karma will only purify the mind. But only Jnanam, Vastu Siddhir Vicharena. So, Chitta Shuddhaye Karma Natu Vastu Upalabdhaye. Through karma, one cannot get Jnanam. Vastu Siddhir Vicharena. Only by Vichara Margam, Jnana Margam, one can attain liberation, moksham. Now, why can't one attain Jnanam through karma? There are many sadhanas, right? Why can't we say we can get moksham through karma. And if that is the fact, then there's no need for one to focus on Vedantic studies. Shravanam Nidhyasanam and get what? Focus on Jnanam. So that is being explained in the third verse. So here the key message that is being conveyed is, why is it not possible for action, that is karma, to destroy ignorance? You all know Sanskrit terms. Action is karma, ignorance is avidya. Why can't karma remove avidya? If karma could remove avidya, then I'll keep on doing karma and my avidya will go away. And when avidya is removed, one is liberated. Remember, moksham is equal to removal of ajnanam or avidya. And if this avidya can be removed by karma, then only by performing karma, I can remove avidya and get moksham. Why is it not possible? Is it possible? No, it's not possible. Why? So first, understand the background. What is this avidya? What is avidya or ajnanam? The avidya or ajnanam that is there in the mind, engulf the mind of all individuals, all people. Evam ayam anadi anantaha naisargiko adhyasa. It's also called as adhyasam. So, mithya pratyay rupaha. Kartrutva bhoktritva pravartaka. Acharya Shankara's wonderful introduction to Brahma Sutra Bhashyam. What is that? The avidya, ignorance, the feeling of incompleteness. Yes or no? Somehow I am feeling incomplete. I need to get something. If I get this, if I attain this, if this happens, I will feel complete. I will feel happy. The fact that today I am unhappy, I am incomplete, is the fundamental ignorance, avidya, that has engulfed everybody. Sarvaloka pratyaksha. Not only in Bhulokam, all lokam. So don't be worried. It's there everywhere. And what does this ignorance, avidya do? It creates a desire to become complete. Yes or no? Once you are feeling that you're incomplete, a desire to become complete, and because of ignorance, we think that by acquiring things in the world, by attaining something, by making something happen, and hoping something will happen. If those things happen, we think we'll become complete. So there is a desire called kama. So avidya gives rise to kama, desire. And having got the desire, once you got a desire to acquire something, get something, go somewhere, will you be sitting quietly in that place? What you'll do? You'll start engaging in action, karma. So that is why kartrutva bhoktritva pravartakaha. See, this avidya adhyasam is the one that is goading one into action. So avidya kama karma. Kama is an intermediate state. Actual, it culminates in action. So avidya gives rise to action. So avidya and karma are complementary pair. Wherever there is avidya, there will be karma. So yadyadhi kurute jantuhu tat tat kamasya cheshtitam. Manudharma Shastram. Remember, all this is there in Subhashita. Wonderful collection. Download that ebook. So wherever there is avidya or ignorance, there will be karma. And so ignorance and action are the opposite to each other, or they are complementary together. They are complementary. So ignorance gives rise to action, which means that wherever there is action, there is ignorance. And so now that we know that action or karma is not opposed to ignorance, they are complementary to ignorance. So karma and avidya are in the same boat. Together they are sailing. I explained in the last session, right? So if karma and avidya are together, can karma be opposed to avidya? Karma can never be opposed to avidya, because karma is a result of avidya. Avidya is karanam. Write down cause. Karma or action is karyam, the effect. So effect can never be different from the cause. The effect arises from the cause, cannot be different from the cause. And so karma cannot be opposed to avidya. Clear now? So when you go forward from avidya, kama karma, we know that karma arises from avidya. And then we have to understand the other way. Karma is not opposed to avidya. So what is moksham or what is jnanam? Write down moksham before first line you write down avidya kama karma. Below that you write below avidya is vidya. Jnanam is what opposite of ajnanam. And to attain the jnanam, you cannot indulge in karma because karma is what? Further and further increasing your avidya. So to get jnanam, to remove avidya, you need only what? The process of discrimination, knowledge, which is possible only through jnana margam. So karma margam, upasana margam can never remove avidya. Only jnana margam and jnanam alone can remove avidya because avidya is a thought. And that wrong thought can be removed only by another thought, which is the right thought. What is this knowledge? Or vidya or jnanam? The knowledge that I am ever complete, I was ever complete, only because ignorance and attaching importance to this physical body, sense organs, mind, thoughts, which are only matter principles having no existence, which are superimposed on my true nature, Atman, not knowing the Atman, thinking that I am this physical body and this physical body is only a matter principle, is always finite, can never be complete, can never give completeness. So the avidya makes you do more and more and more action to get completeness. So the cycle never ends. So the knowledge that I am ever complete alone can remove us from the cycle of avidya, kama karma, not karma. Karma can never remove avidya. That's what Acharya Shankara wants to point out in this particular verse. And as an example, Acharya Shankara says, if there is dense darkness, pitch darkness around us, can anything other than light remove the darkness? You can try many different ways. But to remove the darkness, the one that is opposite of darkness, that is light, alone can remove darkness. So only that has got qualities of the opposite nature can remove the original entity. Similarly, just like light alone can remove darkness, knowledge alone can remove ignorance. So ignorance cannot be removed by karma, cannot be removed by nama sankirtana, bhajana, removed by what? Listening to katha kalakshepam? No, only by Shravana, Mana, Nidhyasana, Vedanta Shastras to remove that ajnanam, ignorance that has engulfed the mind. So now look at the Padavibhaganmaya. All these are wonderful key messages of Vedanta Shastras. Acharya Shankara is giving us step by step so that slowly, layer after layer, this ignorance can be removed. So if anybody says that what one can attain moksham by karma, what is the immediate answer? No, no way karma can give moksha. Why? Karma cannot create jnanam. Jnanam alone is the cause for liberation. Where was it mentioned? Previous verse. Jnanam alone is the cause for liberation. This jnanam can be attained only through removal of ajnanam. And so karma cannot remove ajnanam. Only jnanam can remove ajnanam. So that should be very clear. So example is given. Just like light alone can remove darkness. You can try, you can do even what? Tapas, you can do japam, you can do bhajana, nama sankirtana, close your eyes, do whatever you want. The pitch darkness around, will it go away? No, only light. So, tesham aditya vajnanam prakashayati tatparam. Remember, we keep on chanting this every session, remember. Just like sun comes and removes the darkness of the night, only by Advaita Jnanam, this Jnanam alone can remove the pitch darkness of ignorance. Look at the Padavibhaganmaya. Avirodhitaya karma na avidyam vinivartayet. Vidya Vidyam. So it's actually Sandhi. Vidya plus Avidyam. Vidya Vidyam. Nihanti. Eva. Tejaha. Timira Sanghavat. Clear? 10 padas. Very good. Now look at the Anmaya. Avirodhitaya karma. Avidyam na vinivartayet. So, you want to have more clarity. Avirodhitaya karma. Second line, you can repeat the word karma. Karma avidyam na vinivartayet. Here first is a statement. Avirodhitaya karma means what? Karma is not opposed to avidyam. So you can complete the sentence. Avirodhitaya karma avidyam. You can add there. Okay. Avirodhitaya karma avidyam. So avidyam means what? Ignorance. Karma is action. Avirodhitaya, not opposed to. So karma is not opposed to ignorance. And since, because avirodhitaya means what? Being. Being not opposed to karma. Avirodhitaya karma avidyam na vinivartahet. Karma avidyam na vinivartahet. That karma which is not opposed to ignorance cannot remove ignorance. So, na vinivartayet means what? Cannot remove, cannot totally dismiss or negate avidya. Slightly complex, but make it very simple. Karma, which is not opposed to avidya, can never remove avidya. Karma and avidya are one and the same, together in the same boat. So karma cannot remove avidya since it is not opposed to avidya. Clear? So avirodhitaya karma na avidyam vinivartayet. So how to remove this avidya? Avidyam vidya eva nihanti. Now, Anmaya, make the Anmaya on the second line. Avidyam vidya eva nihanti. Nihanti eva is there. No, the eva is very important. Vidya eva avidyam nihanti. Even that way you can put it. Vidya eva avidyam nihanti. Vidya alone. That means what? Jnanam alone. Knowledge alone. Eva alone. Avidyam. This ignorance. Nihanti removes. So, nihanti avidyam. Vidya eva nihanti avidyam. So, to make it perfect, you can put it this way. So, vidya eva nihanti avidyam. So, knowledge alone will remove ignorance. Because, why? Ignorance is a thought. Wrong understanding. Is ignorance something that is external, present in the physical body, anywhere? No, it is in the mind. And that wrong thought can be removed only by right thought. Yes or no? If you think, for example, in a dim light, if you think or if your impression is that a rope that is coiled appears as a snake, only the right knowledge that it is a rope and not a snake can remove the doubt, can remove the ignorance. Similarly, only the right understanding of one's own true nature, that I am ever complete, can remove the ignorance of one who has been established in the thought that I am ever incomplete. Whatever you may say, sir. So something, some kind of emptiness is there in us, me. So I'm unable to get the feeling of completeness because of ignorance. You can do any amount of karma. You can acquire many things. You can acquire even all the three worlds. Become the what adhipati of all the three worlds. But even then, you will never attain completeness. Even then, incompleteness will be there. Until you attain jnanam, you will never get that no feeling of completeness. And so, this is what we are after to attain completeness. That there is no more desire to acquire that is there. No more karma. Karma has to be totally removed. So, only by knowledge, ignorance can be removed. What is the example? Tejaha timira sanghavat. Timira sanghavat means dense darkness, pitch darkness. Timiram itself means darkness. Timira sanghavat means totally entrenched in darkness. There is pitch darkness around. Tejaha. Tejaha means what? Light. Just like light alone can remove pitch darkness. Nihanti. Tejaha timira sanghavat nihanti. Just like light alone can totally eradicate pitch darkness. Nothing else can remove darkness. Knowledge alone can remove one's ignorance. So, wonderful verse. So, it should be clear. We'll chant again. Then move to the next verse. So, avirodhitaya karma navidyam vinivartayet vidya vidyam nihantyeva तेजस्तिमिर संघवत ओम शांति शांति शांति. So if you want to make a note, write down on the right side, second column, all the examples given by Acharya. First example in verse number 2 is what? Just like fire is the direct cause for cooking. Second example given in verse number 3 is just like light alone can remove darkness. Jnanam alone can remove ajnanam. So all wonderful examples. So all these examples are very powerful. Keep on reiterating the main key message of Advaita Vedanta. Now, what is this ignorance? What is the nature of one's own, what is one's own true nature? Nature of one's own true self. What is the nature of this Atma? That is being explained in the next verse, verse number 4. We'll chant it once and we'll understand the meaning. I think, no, Cain is not there. I will chant twice. So, we'll chant, I'll chant once and second time, you all chant, I'll chant again along with you. Okay. Om Parichinna iva jnanat Parichinna iva jnanat Tannashe sati kevalaha Tannashe sati kevalaha Swayam prakashate hyatma Swayam prakashate hyatma Megha-payem shumaniva Megha-payem shumaniva Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Stand couple of times slowly. Okay. Parichinna iva jnanat Tannashe sati kevalaha Swayam prakashate hyatma Megha-payem shumaniva. Again, easy, no? Parichinna iva jnanat Tannashe sati kevalaha Swayam prakashate hyatma Megha-payem shumaniva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So a question is normally asked. Okay, ajnanam, avidya, ignorance, a feeling of incompleteness. And this ajnanam is not knowing one's own true nature, which is what? Satchidananda Swarupam Atma Tattvam. Now the question is, if I know my own true nature, Atman, Will the feeling of incompleteness go away? Will I attain the knowledge that I am ever complete? Do I need to do any other further sadhana after knowing my true nature to what? Establish myself in the fact that I am ever complete. Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate. For that, Acharya Shankara is giving wonderful example as well. Just like sunlight, which is absent for a brief period because the sun is covered by clouds. Does one require any other effort after the cloud is blown away by wind for one to experience the full sunlight? Understanding, right? Now there is slightly dim light. Why? Because the sun is covered by cloud. During monsoon, you can see every now and then the sun is covered by clouds. Now, when wind blows strongly and moves away the clouds, does one need to do any other sadhana or effort to establish complete brightness around? No. The sun automatically, which is self-resplendent, self-luminous, is able to shine forth brilliantly without any other effort. Clear? All that was required was blowing away the clouds. Similarly, all that is required is removing the ignorance from our mind. Once you remove the ignorance, Atma Tattvam, which is our true nature, will shine forth brilliantly. And this Atma Jnanam, which is shining forth brilliantly, will also give us this knowledge of the fact that I was ever complete, I am complete now, and I will be ever complete. No other additional effort is required. Clear? So that's called Sadhyo Mukti. Sadhyayeva Mukti. So one example is given. Just like you switch on light, darkness goes away. The previous example. Here the example is just like when the clouds are blown away, the sunlight, which is already there. Remember, sunlight is not something that has been newly created. Not a product that has been what? Produced by somebody. It is already there existing. Similarly, this Atman is ever existing within us. It is not something that has to be obtained. It's not utpadyam, it's not prapyam, it's not samskaryam, it is not vikaryam. Remember, few sessions back I explained, Atman is not something that is utpadyam, means what? Not to be manufactured. Like any other entity, you have to manufacture a mobile or a pen or whatever. Atman is not manufactured, it's already existing. Atman is not prapyam, it's not something you have to desire to acquire because it's already your true nature. Atman is not samskaryam, it's not something purified because it is ever pure. Atman is not vikaryam. Atman is not something to be modified from some other entity so that the new product is there. Just like milk gets converted into curds. No. Atman is ever the same. This ever existing, unchanging Atman that is there within us need not be newly produced or what? Something to be discovered elsewhere. It is already existing. What you have to do? Only remove the ignorance. So Atma Jnanam is not something to be obtained new. It is knowing that which is already existing. Swata Siddha Vastu, write down. Already existing entity. Only by removing the ignorance, just by removing the ignorance, you know that this Atman is your true nature. No other special effort is required. Clear? So, because of ignorance, one does not know one's own true nature. And since you don't know your true nature, what is the knowledge of myself? I am this physical body, I am this sense organ, mind, thought, these qualities. And are these qualities of Deha, Manaha, Buddhi the same? They are different for every entity. So once there are different Deha, Mana, Buddhi, then there are different entities in the world. So there is multiplicity. Now you see, this lack of knowledge of Atman or self creates two problems. One creates the problem that I am this limited, what? Physical body, sense organs, mind, thoughts. And the second is all entities around me are also a combination of this, what? Body, sense organs, mind, thoughts. And so they're all different. So the knowledge or the understanding that there is multiplicity in the world is also another byproduct of ignorance, not knowing one's own true nature as Atman. And until you know that Atman alone is your true nature, and Atman alone is the only principle that is existent in the world, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma, which is what? There is only one entity, Manasaivedam Aptavyam Neha Nanasti Kinchana. There is no multiplicity. Until that knowledge is obtained, because of ignorance, you also have this thought that there is multiplicity. So ignorance of one's own nature also breeds the thought of multiplicity. And for the multiplicity to be what? When you have multiplicity, then what? There is a desire. When there is more than one, there is a desire to acquire. And this ignorance goes on, creates this cycle of kama karma. And how will this thought of multiplicity go away? Special effort is required? No. Once Atma Jnanam is attained by just removing the ignorance, then this thought of multiplicity also will go away. Because the moment you attain Atma Jnanam, you know that best are all only matter principles having no existence. And so this verse wonderfully says that because of ignorance of the true nature of oneself, multiplicity is being seen. And when this ignorance is destroyed, how? By Atma Jnanam. One understands there is no multiplicity, is only one. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Just like no other special effort is required for the sun, which is self-luminous, to reveal itself once the cloud is blown away. So once ignorance is removed from one's mind, one knows one's own true nature is Atman, and also that Atman is not different from the absolute reality Brahman, which is all pervading. And so even the thought of multiplicity is removed. So we will chant this verse again and go in details in the next session. Okay. Parichinna iva jnanat tannashe sati kevalaha swayam prakashate hyatma megha shumaniba. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tatsat. Krishna 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 Shubhamastu. Samasta Sanmangalani Bhuntate. Hari Om. Meet again in about 12 hours. And study of the Mundaka Upanishad, very important verses. Narayana.